Jemfi represents the NDC, is the communications officer, and Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh is with the CDD, helping us with the governance angle to all the issues that the politicians raise. Now, let's quickly get to this issue, which Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh is very concerned about. Also, Professor Kweku Asare is very concerned about, and is insisting that the EC should actually be seen to be organizing elections immediately for the Guan people before a new speaker is sworn in, or before the 7th of January. And let me now bring in somebody from the Guan area to give us a quick perspective, very briefly, and then we hear Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh on that issue. Dr. Joe Adai, who is co-chairman, Joint Steering Committee of the Akpafu and Lolobi traditional areas, joins us. Thank you very much, Doc, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning to your cherished.
Right. So on the 6th of December, a day before the election, the Electoral Commission issued a statement and said that you couldn't vote in the parliamentary elections, but you could only vote in the presidential elections. Issues are being raised about it. How do you people feel about that?
Yes, for listeners to appreciate the position we are coming from, I just want to give a brief historical background of what brought us to the position we find ourselves.
Yeah, let's summarize very briefly.
Yes. Sal, that is Lolobi, Akpafu, Sandro Kofi, were part and parcel of Jasika district during the colonial era. But in 1945, there were some skirmishes, and for security reasons, these communities were removed from Jasika and added to Biakuye, that is Jasika district. And then in 1979, Hohwe district was created. And as a result, Lolobi, Akpafu, and the rest found themselves within the Jasika, within the Hohwe district. And what happened was that this year, or before the creation of the new region, His Excellency made us aware that he was going to invite petitions from traditional areas who are interested to join the new region. I want to be specific that Lolobi and Akpafu never petitioned. And what happened was that on the 28th of February, we made a presentation to the Justice Brobe Commission at Osu Castle, expressing our desire to remain in Volta region. Again, on the 6th of January, our Paramount Chief also made the same presentation at home during the National House of Chiefs encounter. But somewhere along the line, we were just asked that we should go and take part in a referendum. We have protested, and the case is still at court. And as I speak, our case has never been heard or called. That is a brief introduction about the historical background. Since you don't have time, let me go straight to the reason why we is in the EC. You recall that the EC had lawfully and appropriately assigned every voter to a constituency during this registration exercise. That is point one. Point two, the EC2 had lawfully and appropriately nominations for parliamentary candidates all over the country. That is the 275 constituencies. The fact is that the same EC supervised the nomination and selection of the various candidates. And it will interest you to know that EC officially acknowledged Lolobi and Akpafu participation in the selection of Hohwe, parliamentary candidates. And then what we are facing now is that we were just told that, yes, we could not vote in the parliamentary elections, but we could do so in the, presidential. So on the 29th, the 27th of November, we officially wrote to EC demanding clarification as to our voter status. And to date, EC refused to even acknowledge receipt of our letter, let alone address our grievances. We were only informed per press release that the EC said that the people of Akpafu and Lolobi will not be disenfranchised, but they would be allowed to vote in their mother constituency. But if you look at it, constituencies in Ghana are identified by them. Now that EC, they were very economical with the truth. Telling somebody his mother constituency, then the next time somebody asks you where is the grandfather's constituency. So 12 hours to the election, EC came with another, press release, saying that we can only vote in the parliamentary elections.
The presidential, not the parliamentary.
The presidential and not the parliamentary. We can vote in the presidential and not parliamentary.
Yeah, so now what are you going to do about this?
You know that we asked EC a specific question. They should quote the section of the law that gave them that power and authority to disenfranchise a registered voter. And I am not a lawyer, but if you ask the people who are well vested in law, to deliberately disenfranchise somebody is actually subversion of the Constitution.
Yeah,
and
interesting.
I think the lawyers on your panel would be able to prescribe the needed, remedy.
Okay.
But Lolobi and Akpafu have resolved. If EC is very adamant and refusing to admit that we need to vote, I think we would consult our legal team and then mount a fierce legal battle.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Joe Ade. Dr. Joe Ade is co-chairman, Joint Steering Committee of the Akpafu and Lolobi traditional areas. They say that the EC disenfranchised them in a way that is so unlawful. And in fact, the arguments have been made that the parliamentary candidate who contested with Mr. Amawu actually may have won the elections if they were allowed to have voted in their normal situation. They would have voted in the whole constituency. And that she comes, Hohoe constituency, she comes from that area that has now been disenfranchised. H. Kwesi Prempeh and others have been advocating that it cannot happen and must not happen, that they will not have a representation in Parliament. Yes, let's hear how you say this is possible. And then we can hear from Making and Sami Jemfi also. Perhaps Feyo Making, who has been signaled as far as the majority side of Parliament is concerned, those who be majority leaders and the rest. Maybe they have a solution.
The majority, minority.
Let's hear H. Kwesi Prempeh.
They lost the parliamentary election.
Yes, Samson, thank you. Well, I have described this as a very bizarre development, and it is really bizarre. The fact that it's not even within the contemplation of the Constitution, right? I mean, nobody really, there isn't, you read through the entire document, this kind of development was not within the contemplation of anybody. That you would have a general election, and then on the eve of that election, serve notice to a certain community of voters that they would not be able to vote in the legislative elections, but only in the presidential. When in fact, all the processes, as Dr. Adai has indicated, all the processes leading to that point led everybody to believe, and reasonably so, that they would participate in the process on equal terms with other compatriots. I think that, this for me is disturbing because, elections are, we are critical events in our democracy, but also when poorly done or when they are done in a way that leave, certain communities of citizens with a grievance of this kind, they can actually wreck national cohesion. If done so, elections have been responsible for wrecking national cohesion in many countries. And so we should be very careful with election matters. And all of the state officials and bodies that are together responsible for making sure that we follow through on their respective duties must really do those things with diligence and be sure that they've crossed their T's and dotted their I's and have looked through to make sure that everything is right to the end. This, I don't know. I mean, I don't see an excuse for this, and I don't see a justification for it. Clearly, the citizens in those communities are entitled to representation on equal terms with their compatriots. They have a right to vote, they are entitled to vote, and they are entitled to be represented in our 275-member parliament, which is what the understanding was. So somebody needs to explain better to Ghanaians. I don't know, between the executive and parliament and the electoral commission, who exactly dropped the ball here, but certainly something happened along the way that should not have happened if somebody was paying attention. And this is not, so the innocent citizens of this community, of these communities, must not be the one to bear the fallout in terms of political cost.
We have run out of time. We have run out of time, unfortunately, but by the law, if a constituency has to be created, the processes as involved will come into effect upon the dissolution of parliament, and that will be that the only time they will have the opportunity to vote will be in 2025.
No, we cannot be literal and legalistic in this matter. This is a political problem that has been created through no fault of the citizens of these communities. And the state actors that are responsible cannot use their act of omission or commission to deprive these citizens of their right and then come and quote some literal text in the Constitution.
Is it feasible? Is it feasible to organize elections there before January 7th, as you and some others are asking?
It should be possible. I don't see why. It's just one constituency. It would. I mean, the same way it's possible to have one election in the place in the term of a parliament. This is a problem that is essentially not within the contemplation of the framers of the Constitution. So we have to find a makeshift solution for it. You cannot just apply the letter of the Constitution in this instance. You have to create a very particular solution to this particular problem, because it is not something within the four walls of the Constitution.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh. Thank you very much indeed for your time throughout this period. We have run out of time, but in 30 seconds, the parliamentary situation and the Guans situation, you'll have the same.
First of all, let me clarify that we have not detected any padding of votes at the regional coalition center level. And so the point he made about Broja Jemfi is not very accurate. The pattern we have so far detected happen at the constituency coalition centers. Our agents at the regional coalition centers, like Broja Jemfi, did the right thing. Secondly, on this issue of the Guan area, I associate myself fully with the views expressed by Dr. Ade and Professor H.E. Prempeh. The people of Akpafu, Lolobi traditional areas are Ghanaians. They have a right to choose their representative in the legislative arm of government and should not be disenfranchised. The EC should let us know when the constituency will be created and when elections will be held, so that we know that they will
you need a CI, and you need how many days for the CI to pass?
A roadmap.
21 days.
So they should give
all that cannot happen. And he says we cannot be legalistic. What else can we use?
So give us a roadmap. Tell us that we intend to lay the CI on so and so date. We intend to hold elections on so and so date.
Interesting. 30 seconds to you too.
Finally,
with prospects to be majority leader, how can you resolve this issue?
On the parliamentary majority.
I'm sorry, 30 seconds, yeah.
I'm happy, my friend.
He's in the minority.
I'm happy, my friend Sami.
Are you bestowing on him something he hasn't earned?
Applauding the party's regional coalition officers for signing the original declaration forms.
You're also going back. We don't have time.
And no, that's the point I'm making. I'm applauding him for acknowledging the fact that his regional reps did a good job, and whatever they sent to the headquarters, which became the basis of the declaration, was not wrong. At least he has said it to the whole world. That's good news. Second, I think that the flag bearer of the NDC must not wait for the international community to prevail on him before he concedes. It wouldn't be good for his own image. If in the past,
nobody has prevailed on him.
I'm saying he shouldn't wait for the international community to prevail on him. That is what appears to be
prevailed upon to go to court.
He shouldn't. So I mean, these things you have to stop.
Okay, we are done. We are done. Time is gone.
Shouldn't wait for the international community.
The NDC won 146 in South.
Yeah, by what the Electoral Commission has declared so far, each of the parties has 137 seats each, meaning none of you has a majority. But the Formina gentleman, Andrew, has said that he will sit with the NPP, and that might give them the simple majority they need to do what they... All right, thank you also very much. Thank you also very much. My guests have been Sami Jemfi, Afeyo Marking, and Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, as well as Dr. Joe Adai. I'm Samson Adia. I'll see you again next week for another edition of NewsFile.